Hello everyone, in this episode of Motive Garage we're back on our R32 GTR upgrading the in-tank fuel system. Now, if you've been watching our channel for a long time, you know that our car has been developed step by step from stock and 300 horsepower to 9s on a stock bottom end, and then to make 900 at the hubs on a built 2.6. At the moment, the car has no engine, as you know. It's had a massive transformation that you're going to get to see soon, and we're now going to be going for well over 1,000 horsepower on a Nitto 3.2 litre stroker. Now, there's good and bad things to the step-by-step development. Good is for you guys, you get to see everything that's involved to get where you want to be, or to skip everything we did and just go straight to where you want to be. The bad thing is, though, is a lot of the modifications on the car have kind of been done on top of other mods, and you do quick fixes on the dyno, and things kind of get done in a hurry to make something work as you find out the limits of things, and it isn't kind of really built right in one go. It's just step-by-step changed. Some areas of the car have ended up, not really up to the standard that I want. And one of those areas is the boot of our GTR. The factory fuel tank has been cleaned out before, but we were starting to have problems with the factory wiring. Every now and then the lift pump would actually just die. And it's just old wiring associated with that. The wiring's messy that's in there right now. We had rubber lines coming off the fuel tank, wrapping around up through the back of the guard to then go to braided lines. We had really long lines from the tank to the surge tank. And overall, it was just a mess. So I've decided to tear it all out and start again. Now, our R32 GTR uses a Kinsler mechanical fuel pump as part of a Platinum Racing Products kit. Sucks through a Dash 10 line from a massive surge tank in the boot, nearly 10 litres. So all of that part of the car is fine. The problem is the in-tank pump and all that part, and then feeding that surge tank. That's where all the problem is. So, what are we going to do new now, starting with a blank canvas? Well, firstly, I've got a Frenchie's Performance Garage R32 GTR single pump kit. This uses a billet hat, which replaces the factory worn out stuff. We get all new wiring points now, which gets rid of the factory problems that we're having. We have Dash 6 inlet and outlet on the top of the billet hat, which means we can do neater plumbing and be all braided line with no issues. It comes with a new fuel sender, which is great because our one wasn't working anymore either. And we obviously get to put a Walbro pump that's nice and fresh back in there as well. So this Frenchie's kit worked great on our R33, so we've decided to use it on our R32. You can get a baffle kit for it, and you can get a twin pump, even a triple pump version. But because we have an external surge tank, all we need is enough fuel to keep the surge tank full. So we don't have to worry about putting crazy baffles or multiple pumps in, just the one pump. We also got the Frenchie Performance Garage fuel tank access cover. This comes with a Perspex cover here like this, so it doesn't obviously get the smell into the boot. And the whole idea is you can actually see the fuel pump kit on top. Now for us, we actually don't need this bit because where our surge tank is now, instead of having fuel lines run up over and around the fuel tank, we'll have the two Dash 6 inlets and outlets here, and they can just go straight to the surge tank. So we can have much shorter, neater piping. We might keep this Perspex bit, but maybe trim it out to suit. What else did we need? Well, we've got to install our flex fuel sensor and new line, so we spoke to our friends at Raceworks and they sent us up some Dash 6 Teflon braided line to use in black. We got a whole bunch of fittings to give us a few different combinations to try and run the lines to and from the surge tank. They sent us one of the Walbro, which is now TI Automotive, fuel pumps. They also sent up these quick locks to go onto the flex fuel sensor. So instead of push on fuel line, I guess, on the flex fuel sensor, you get this quick lock fitting, just pushes on like that, doesn't come off, and you now have Dash 6 on your flex fuel sensor, which is much neater and better for installations. We also needed a fuel filter pre-surge tank because you don't want anything going through that mechanical pump. So our friends at TurboSmart sent us one of their Dash 6 inline fuel filters, which can be opened up and have the element replaced. Flows for what we need. You've got to remember that this is the lift pump to a surge tank. So really it's considered a low pressure system in terms of delivering fuel, because all it's doing is giving fuel to the surge tank to keep it full, and then the return goes back to the factory tank. really it's not under pressure. I mean, there might be a little bit there, but it's not under pressure in the same way. So it can flow plenty of fuel for what we need to keep the surge tank fuel going through both the flex fuel sensor and through the TurboSmart Dash 6 filter. One little thing is, normally we'd put a flex fuel sensor on the return, but we don't want to put it on the return from the surge tank to the main tank, because at some point when you're full throttle down the quarter mile, you might find there is no fuel returning from the surge tank to the main tank, because obviously your mechanical fuel pump, which is capable of 1500 horsepower, is flowing a lot more than the lift pump. So even though the surge tank might be full at the start of the run, at the end of the run, that fuel level is going to come down a little bit, and there may not be any fuel returning to the main tank, which means there isn't any fuel flowing through this flex fuel sensor. And we don't want to get any incorrect readings halfway through a drag run. So we are now going to install the flex fuel sensor on the feed line to the surge tank, but it's not under pressure, so no issues. So you see what parts we're going to use and why? Let's get them in the car. The first thing we had to do was install the fuel pump into the billet hanger and install the fuel level sender float. We modified the Frenchie's Performance Garage fuel tank cover so the lines could go straight into the boot and keep the lines to and from the surge tank short and neat. We also think it looks pretty cool. We made up a carbon panel to mount the TurboSmart fuel filter and the Haltech flex fuel sensor as well. We mounted this panel in front of the surge tank so it's easily accessible and serviceable. When making braided lines, the better the quality of the line and the fitting, the easier it is to install them. The Raceworks braided line cuts very clean and easily and makes the install much easier as well. We left the protective plastic film on the lines while we were dummy fitting them into the boot to get the length correct before cutting it so it wouldn't scratch things. With all the lines cut to length and ready, it was time to remove all the plastic protection and install for the final time. Now another thing I'm going to do to make the boot look better, be tidier and protect it a little bit is something I was going to do to the side intrusion bars inside the car, and that was put carbon fibre around it. Now you can buy carbon fibre tube designed to protect roll cage or tubing in the engine bay on drag cars, but it's pretty expensive. So instead, 3M have sent us this, their carbon final effect vinyl. Now it'll do the exact same job for nowhere near the cost and look just as good as a finished product. So the whole idea is we cut this, put a curve on it, do it to the length of a bit of roll bar, you wrap it so you can't see the joint underneath, and you've got that carbon look, and it will also protect the roll cage from scratches, scuffs, etc. So I reckon it's going to look pretty good. Let's get it in. Well, there it is. Our boot and fuel system overhaul is now mechanically completed. I've still got the wiring to do, but I'm not going to show you guys that because there's, well, too many experts on the internet that'll tell me how I did it wrong. But you won't be able to see it anyway. So all up, it's not going to win any trophies at a car show for the best boot install, but that's not really what I was going for with this. Some people like to hide everything and make it all look factory and hide it all behind panels, but our car does so much sort of research, development and testing that I like to have everything accessible so you can get to it. You can check if there's any issues, you can change things easily, you can upgrade things easily, and that's what I was going for with this install, is everything is right there in front of you and easy to access. If you have any leaks, you can see them, etc. I could have resprayed the whole boot and gone for sort of an immaculate look, but I already know that things are going to get changed, modified and removed and put back, etc. So there's probably no point doing that now, but it's a hell of a lot tidier. I think it actually looks pretty cool the way it's laid out, and that 3M carbon fibre vinyl as the protective strips on the roll cage actually sort of like just finishes it off real nicely. So all up, it's kind of I guess a functional race car look, but kept it nice and tidy as well. What's next for this car? Well, we've still got a whole new interior to put in. We've got new wheels to put on, more external accessories, and very soon we'll be able to unveil pretty much a whole new look for our R32 GTR.